Hi, and welcome to Modding Mental Health,
a podcast about video games and, well, mental health.
In this episode, we discuss Portal 2. Our conversation includes talks of abuse of power and bullying. Thank you for your time and discretion.
Now that you know what is coming your way, relax, grab a cup of coffee and join us. And hello?
I'm different. Welcome back, Messenger, to another episode of Modding Mental Health. Oh my god, I am so excited to see you, to talk to you, and it's gonna be a good afternoon.
It's gonna be very good. Well, afternoon for you. It's already past 8:30 here.
Yeah, you're probably going to bed after this.
I'm not 12. Come on.
Oh, bruh, I go to bed at 9, okay? I don't want to hear it.
Oh.
Why do you think I'm up for your streams at like 4 a.m.? Come on.
That's true. You're up at 4 a.m.?
Sometimes.
God. You gotta get some sleep.
I do sleep.
Okay, that's true. You from 9 to 4. What is that? How many hours? 10?
Messenger's doing math.
That's 6.
2 hours off. I'll take a nap.
I had to pull out my fingers.
Okay, when I have to decipher between left and right, I still have to do the L. Which one makes the L is left.
Yeah. In my driver's test, so the tester in Germany sits in the back while your own driver's teacher sits in the front.
That's terrifying. I'm sorry. That sounds terrifying to me.
It was a bit terrifying, but it was also good because my driver's tester was like, turn right, like soon. And then my teacher, because he knew I had issues with left and right, would go secretly on the dashboard, like this way or this way with his hands, so only I could see, but the tester couldn't see, so that I wouldn't mess up.
Oh,
what a gem! I passed. Phew.
Thank God. And now you're driving. Yikes.
I actually did recently drive. Okay, life update. I think we owe everyone giant updates because we have been MIA for like a little bit.
A tiny bit. We took a much needed tiny break, I think. I think the both of us have been busy.
I was gonna say, to be fair, we didn't really, like, when we think about this like as a monthly thing, we didn't really take a break because we had a very, very exciting thing happening last month where we gave a talk for Keywords Studios, which is a company that works with giants like Nintendo and Google. And we talked to them about modding mental health and what video game and mental health is. And it was like an online seminar, and it was like an hour, and it was incredible. And there were like 80 people there.
And we gave a presentation.
Yeah.
And people actually wanted to listen to what we had to say.
Yeah.
And it was kind of terrifying.
And amazing.
It was terrifying and amazing. And I'm very grateful we got the opportunity.
Same.
And that she even trusted us with it.
Yes.
I don't even know. But just, it was a really good experience.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, Dan, we love you.
Thank
you so much
Thank
for
you.
getting us on there. And we love to work again with you in the future. And you've been lovely. And we really appreciate the opportunity. And so, yeah, that was, so we didn't really take a break. We did that. We did a presentation. I love how, Kat, I think you said that right before we went on, because we were looking at the presentation again. You were like, remember, we don't get a grade for this. I was like, oh, right.
I had to remind Messenger. I'm like, hey, we're not in high school right now.
Yeah.
We're okay.
Yes.
Take a breath.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was stressing, but it's true. Not the great thing, but the only times I've done presentations was when other people already knew what I was talking about. So it was like they kind of checked if everything was correct. This time, we were providing everyone with brand new information that they probably had never heard about.
Yeah.
Who's going to fact check us anyway, baby? So, it's fine. We did well. Well done, Kat. Good job.
Good job.
Shaking your hand from
High five.
a million miles away. Oh, high five. Okay. Nice.
We would be those people where you would like go in for a handshake and I would high five and then it would be weird.
And then I would hug you and then you would turn your head and then I would kiss you, but we would accidentally kiss on the lips.
But little did you think I actually wanted that to happen, but we'll pretend like it was an accident.
Then we would just make out.
And then like you would leave your partner and I would leave mine and then we would run away and get married somewhere in like Europe. I don't know. Oh yeah, we're recording a podcast.
Right.
Sorry about that.
Sorry guys, that was awkward. Do you have any more wonderful life updates for us? Because I've heard there's so many things happening in your life right now.
Well, for starters, I fallen into the hole that is Diablo 4.
Oh, as so many have.
And I am enjoying that game so much. I have been in such a need of like an RPG type game, and I didn't realize like how much that's been missing from my life currently, because once I just started, I got hooked. I think I've owned it for maybe 4 days and I'm almost level 40, I think.
Dang.
So I've just been doing a lot of that. We have 2 cats now, so my mom found this baby kitten in a bush on her hike, and my boyfriend and I decided to take him in. His name's Bullet. Now we have Burrow and Bullet.
And he looks exactly like Mr. Midnight, you guys. Like,
he looks like Mr. Midnight from Franbo, yeah.
1-to-1. He looks amazing like him. We're gonna put a picture in here somewhere.
Oh, definitely.
He's a baby.
But yeah, he's a little baby, so we had to take him to the vet, and vets are expensive.
Yeah.
And that put a little damper on us, but that's okay. What else? I visited some Twitch friends up north in Michigan.
You did.
Carrie and Rodmer and Veggie Egg Roll and Rachel Cave. Met some friends, hung out. We went to a farm. Got to experience capybaras.
Capybara.
I fed some capybaras, which was an amazing experience. Thank you, Carrie.
That's so cool.
Just a lot of like running around, a lot of traveling. We're doing a lot of traveling this year, and a lot more is still happening. Like, we're in the thick of it right now. But yeah, that's essentially my life updates, other than bad stuff. It's been all the good stuff. It's just been weird. It's just like, I feel like I've been transported into a different universe, like I'm in an alternate reality right now. Like,
did you watch like this new Spider-Verse movie? Maybe that's what caused it.
I love Spider-Man so much, and I don't know why I haven't watched any of the new Spider-Man movies. Messenger's flabbergasted right now. No, I haven't.
I watched the new Spider-Verse and I loved it so much.
I've only heard good things.
It's so good. Because the other one came out in 2018, right? I had my friend from high school actually come over, stay with me for a couple days. It was lovely. I love her so much. I'm glad she was here. She had no idea about the Spider-Man movies. Or she really doesn't really know anything about Spider-Man in general, but she also has no idea about like the whole Miles Morales storyline. But recently, the first movie got on Disney. So on Saturday evening, we watched the first one, and then Sunday evening we went to the movie theater to watch the second one. And we took her too. And even someone who has no idea about Spider-Man, except for that first movie that she saw, loved it. So it was so good. The animation is incredible.
But I love that. Like, anyone can be Spider-Man. Like, you can watch any Spider-Man movie and it works.
Yes. Yeah. Very big update next Tuesday. So probably by the time you're listening to this, it already happened. I'm gonna go away for 5 weeks to a clinic. And I'm gonna stay there for 5 weeks. And I'm gonna take care of my mental health. This is like one of the last big steps in my mental health journey that started this past year. Because I was at a day clinic here in Leipzig. And I went there like for 10 weeks, every day, every weekday for 8 hours, did therapy, came back home. Then I did therapy more. I was written up sick still, right? I did lots of cool stuff. I've actually did some trauma therapy very recently, and it went really, really well. It was very eye-opening, and I'm so grateful that I was able to do that. And so this is basically like a rehabilitation from all of that, kind of for me to really think about what has happened this past year to help me get out of this like really bad episodic depressive episode. That's it, that I've been having, especially it was really, really bad like January, February. So I'm hoping that's like a very healing thing in the very end. And it's supposed to help me to be able to go get back to work actually. So yeah, that's gonna happen, and I'm gonna be gone for 5 weeks, and I'm gonna miss everyone so much, and
I'm gonna miss you. How do you feel? What are your emotions towards it? Are you excited, nervous?
all of the above. I think I'm scared of what, like, because I have no idea what's gonna come. Basically, I'm excited because I've seen how it looks like. Everything, like the clinic is in a really super small town, and there's like mountains all around. It's very nature-esque, and I think it's gonna look really nice. They have like a gym, they have a pool and everything.
Sweet.
And it looks good.
Vacation.
Kinda, but also not really, because you have mandatory things you gotta do. I have lots of group therapy sessions and whatnot. I don't know, actually. I have no idea. That's what scares me a bit. But I'm excited to do this, and I'm just hopeful that it's gonna help me really like center myself and really think about like kind of like my inner compass and what I really want, which direction is important for me right now.
Sure.
And to make me a bit more self-reliant. So I have a big like insecurity issues, which is you wouldn't be able to tell when I do my little spiel, but I'm super insecure sometimes. So I'm not very self-reliant, which means that when something anxiety inducing happens, I always fear the worst, because I haven't reached the part of my life yet where I'm like, oh, I can be sure whatever happens, I know how to get through it. So that's where I want to get, or further. I want to get more there. And also I want to start ADHD medication. So hopefully we can all do that there. So we'll see.
Well, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna miss you.
Yeah, please write me. I have internet still. I have access to the internet.
Well, of course. So, speaking of being institutionalized.
Oh! There we go.
Just like our good friend Chell from Portal 2. Pretty much institutionalized in the Aperture Science Laboratories.
Mm-hmm.
So I had Messenger play Portal 2 for this episode. And would you like me, or would you like to do a little recap since you just finished it, or?
Yeah, I can do. I actually didn't even know the character's name until now.
So it's actually not ever, I don't think it's ever actually told.
Ah, okay.
But you can find her name in little Easter eggs if you look around.
I see.
In drawings. I think you find a drawing of her at some point. Spoilers, but...
I gotta play it again. Look around more. Because I've already looked around a little bit, but I guess I haven't looked around completely. That's cool. So yeah, Shell, you said. Shell?
Yep. Shell. Like Shell, but with the CH.
Yeah, that's Eldorado's Shell. Eldorado. Okay, never mind. I'll start. Okay, so you're Shell, and you wake up, and you're in this little room. It's like a little hospital room almost. And the mattress that you wake up in looks like you've been laying there for hundreds of years. And I was very concerned for that. And then suddenly this little bot comes in, like there's like it's like a little eyeball bot, I don't know. And he says his name's Wheatley. And then he's like, oh my God, you're here. We gotta get you out or something. I don't remember exactly. But anyway, so you kind of follow Wheatley. You then have to do some testing, and you kind of get introduced to this world a little bit, because I have not played Portal 1, so I have no idea about the game. So I was really happy about, like, they're giving you first tests, and it's basically you have to have a bit of visual thinking, and you have to think a bit like around corners sometimes to like do the test. You have like a portal gun, you portal yourself from one end to the other end, and you have to solve some puzzles. It's really cool. And basically the story is that you want to solve puzzles and you want to get to the surface because you want to get out of there. Everything is falling apart. This facility has not been run technically for, I guess, hundreds of years. You want to just leave. And instead of leaving, Wheatley, the bot, accidentally wakes up someone who you apparently destroyed in Portal 1. And her name is GLaDOS. And she is very, very, very salty about being killed by you.
Oh, she is very upset.
She, for instance, says, I've been really busy being dead after you've murdered me, or nothing. And then then she makes you test, and Wheatley isn't there anymore. He's basically the side. He tries to connect with you again, but you mostly do these tests, and you see him from time to time on the outsides, but, like, he isn't really there. She also says, I wrote that down, nothing will stop us from testing for the rest of your life. After that, who knows? I might take up a hobby. Reanimating the dead, maybe. Like, she's really salty about you killing her, which, I mean...
She brings it up a lot.
She brings it up basically every sentence, and she makes you do these tests. After a while, you and Wheatley reunite, and you're actually able to take GLaDOS out. And then Wheatley is suddenly the head of this Aperture Science, but it turns out Wheatley's awful. You think he's your friend? He's not.
He's a moron.
He's awful. So then GLaDOS' brain gets transported into a potato. Cool. And then you run around the facility a little bit more. You find GLaDOS again because she was gone for a bit. A bird was hacking on her, trying to eat her because she's a potato. You take her with you, and she's like, you know what? I know we're not friends, but maybe we have a common enemy. And Wheatley is currently destroying the facilities because he has no freaking clue about anything that's happening. Everything's falling apart. There's fires and everything. Meanwhile, Wheatley is in denial about it. So you guys form a pact to actually destroy Wheatley. And you do. You figure things out within this facility. And in the end, Wheatley is in space. I'm in space! If you play the game, then you'll know. There's another turret who's really excited, or like another bot who's really excited about being in space. Wheatley is then in space, and GLaDOS actually kind of rescues you, but it turns out that wasn't GLaDOS. There was a human whose brain got saved into GLaDOS, and then GLaDOS says that she killed the human, and okay, you can go now, though. Like, goodbye.
I love your description of this game. This is so perfect. Thank you.
And then in the end, you kind of rise up on this elevator. You make it past... So there's these turrets in the game that shoot you. You make it past an entire, like, civilization of turrets who play a song for you with, like, a mega turret in the background playing the trombone. It's so weird. And then you're suddenly on the surface and there's greenery around you. And then one of those blocks that you've been using to solve puzzles pops out. And that's it. That's the end of the game. And you're like, cool. It's kind of like... You know the fish in Finding Nemo at the very end where they're like, now what? That's how I felt. And that was the end of the game. And it was really cool and I liked it. But that was the long and short of it.
So that was really good. Yeah. No, that was
Thank you.
For playing the game once, 10 out of 10. And for not playing the first game, 11 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
So to sum up Portal 1, really.
Mm-hmm.
You can find the summary of Portal 1 through drawings, which are like Easter eggs in different levels throughout Portal.
Ah.
So these wall drawings that you may have come across, this is what they look like.
I've seen a couple.
They are made by what the community has named Doug Ratman. So we call him the Ratman. The last employee of Aperture who survived GLaDOS' attack. So throughout the first game, you first destroy GLaDOS the first time, so that's why the facility is essentially in shambles. Everything's wrecked. That was your first doing from the first game. And so when the facility exploded the first time, your body was taken back to a hibernation chamber by just a robot that cleans up.
Mm-hmm.
Your body was taken back, and you've essentially been asleep there in hibernation for, I don't know the exact years. I know there's a number, but it's a high number. It's a pretty hefty number. And then you meet Wheatley, which is, you're correct.
Mm-hmm.
He is a personality core. So a personality core.
Yes,
There's a
that's
bunch of them. So the guy at the end, the space core, which is to make you love space, I assume. So Wheatley, I guess, was the personality core that made you stupid. These personalities core were made to keep GLaDOS docile and keep her tamed, so she didn't want to destroy everything and make you test all day long. So yeah, Wheatley's a personality core. And what were your first thoughts on him when you first met him?
I was like, oh, you're one of those guys who talks a lot, but there's actually nothing behind it. You're very full of yourself. I think at the very first time, because he was my only connection to this world, I did believe most of the things he said. There's always spots in the game where you don't really interact with anyone directly. So at the very first part, Wheatley is like, meet me here, and you have to start doing tests, and it's just a voice that you can hear from like a disembodied male voice that is like, welcome to the testings, here is what you have to do. And he what I wrote down and what really struck me, or like what I liked a lot, is one of the things, after you solve a puzzle, he's like, very well done. Actually, this is recording, so please disregard any undeserved compliments. And I like that a lot. For some reason, it resonated with me, because it makes you think, wait, do I give myself the compliment now or not? Like, and I was actually like, hell yeah, I did that well. Well, thank you so much. And the other thing he said, because he was telling you already that there are turrets in here, so there are robots that might shoot at you. And then he says, all military robots have been taught how to read and been provided with one copy of the laws of robotics to share. And I am a sci-fi nerd, so I love Asimov, who is the creator, basically, of the law of robotics. So Asimov is also the writer who wrote Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which is the novel based for Blade Runner, and the laws of robotics come from one of his short stories. And it's like, do not disobey a human, do not hurt a human.
I didn't know any of this.
There we
That's
go.
very interesting.
Law 3 is the only time that you can disregard rule 1 is when it would coincide with rule 2. So you don't obey a human when you would have to hurt another human, basically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
And like, if you've ever watched Blade Runner, you can kind of see how these laws of robotics can be like warped. And it's really interesting. I really recommend reading that one short story. I'll put maybe put a link to it in the description on Spotify and on YouTube. But yeah, that's where the laws of robotics come from Asimov. And it's from a short story. So I like that little tidbit of nerdy science in there. And
right.
I like how it's kind of put on its head by telling you it's not, so Asimov's laws are like, they're integrated into the robots. Like, they cannot do any of this. But in this case, it sounds as if it's a booklet.
Right.
That they have to read and either adhere to or not.
Yeah.
Which is not how Asimov intended them to be. Which is why I love it so much. And I think Asimov would have loved it too.
That's something I have written down, is the game's sense of humor, because
yes.
I remember playing this when it was still pretty new, and I want to say, like, a lot of my sense of humor probably comes from this game, just with its sarcasm, really, like, from GLaDOS' sarcasm, monotoned comebacks, like, it's either read between the lines, you either caught it, or it's just gonna go over your head, and then you're gonna be judged for it. But yeah, I'm glad you liked the game's sense of humor, because I think it has very clever one-liners, and I'm glad you caught that, because that's something I would have never even caught. So it was still funny to me, but it was even funnier to you because you made that connection. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah. I can see you being influenced by the sarcastic humor, and I love that a lot, and I think that's why we vibe a lot, because we have a very similar sense of humor in that way, like the sarcastic comebacks.
Right.
Chef's kiss. Like, how did you feel about, I think when you and Wheatley walk around, it's still the very beginning of the game, when you come across that one turret that is like, hello, I'm different.
Hello?
I'm different.
Are you there?
I'm different.
There are so many different like types of turrets in Portal, and it's so funny you bring up that one because I make those little noises, hello, like so much. I guess I felt bad. Can't you destroy it or something? I feel like I destroyed it and I put it out of its misery.
I haven't tried actually. I just looked at it because it comes back later in the game. You meet another one like it who says the exact same thing. That's why I'm thinking it's the same one. But
there's like, I know there's a string because they're still making, the facility's still making the turrets. And I think there's some that are just defective. Because there's a point in the game where you go and you're sabotaging GLaDOS and you find the turrets and you put in a broken one and it starts accepting the broken ones as like the clear, like correct ones. So with GLaDOS versus Wheatley, we have a moment where you take GLaDOS apart. She's like the head, she's able to control everything in the facility from this like center point that you were able to go to. You detached her and you put Wheatley in charge. And he becomes so power enthused so suddenly once you put him in charge. It's like a switch flips in him where he's suddenly not really helping you anymore. To the point where he's so angry at GLaDOS, he takes her apart and turns her into a potato. So he chucks the potato into this elevator because he's about to let you go free. And he's so mad at GLaDOS, he smashes you down and you fall in the elevator. You fall to the very, very bottom of the Aperture Laboratory. So now we're at ground zero because of him.
Yes.
And because of this abuse of power, I wanted to ask, have you ever had a moment where your power unintentionally hurt someone?
Oh, where my power unintentionally hurt someone? That's a very good question.
I think he really was gonna like let Chell be free, he's a moron, of course. And that didn't go as planned, but it was just something I thought about.
I feel like I must have. I feel like there must have been something, I think like early university days. Man, I'm pretty sure I must have like done something at some point, but I can't think of a specific thing right now. But I'm sure I have.
Well, then we can all reflect. Everyone have some self-reflection. Check in.
Write us.
Don't abuse your power.
Yeah.
Write us at moddingmentalhealth@gmail.com about the times you may have abused your power, or if someone's abused their power against you.
Oh, I can sing a song about that part for sure. many times. I think when it comes to recent years, I've seen that a lot with like content creators on Twitch. It's happened, like the people that I knew, it happened twice in that little circle. So people who were streamers themselves abusing their power to get into relationship, either only online or also physical, with other people, and abusing their power, getting in relationship with potentially people who are minors, and knowing how to use mental health against them to like get like on a power trip above them. And one of them even tried the same with me. So I definitely recognize that.
For sure.
And I try to be very aware of that, because we both have platforms, so we have to be very aware of like kind of what we say and what we do, because it gets dicey quick for sure. So especially after that,
or taken out of context or misconstrued, or
that's true.
I'm sure, honestly, thinking about all of the things I say, I hope I never become famous. That's all I'm gonna say. People don't get the humor.
That too. And then also people will put you on a pedestal, and so they forget that you're human. I think we have to be aware of that too. Like, it's, if you actively abuse your power, I think it can happen accidentally. I've seen that happen so many times on like TikTok now, where people call out a business that's been rude to them and send swarms of people to the small business side and like do negative reviews and stuff. And I think this is like an instance of abusing your power, and some of them are not even doing it on purpose. They don't even know what they're like kicking loose. And it can be so harmful. And it might have been an issue that could have been resolved very differently.
Right.
But, yeah. So that's something I guess we gotta be, especially in social media times, we gotta be aware of that. Oh, I have one more thing about when GLaDOS was testing, actually. Because GLaDOS is very sassy, right?
Yes.
So when she tests you, she never says you did well. You did, like, well enough. And then she says, like, good job. Oh, you were thinking I was talking to you? So I wrote down, I feel like for someone who has a problem with always wanting to exceed expectations, aka me, it's kind of nice because I know I will never exceed hers. So I have no pressure.
So you come to accept that.
Because I know I'll never satisfy her. So it's fine.
That's interesting. So you were satisfied with the knowledge knowing that you could never satisfy her.
Yeah.
While I feel like, I don't want to say, I guess hyper-focus on trying to satisfy.
I know what you mean.
You know?
You're like, maybe I can actually change her.
Yeah.
Maybe I can be the exception.
Maybe I will do it better.
At some point, she has to see objectively I'm doing well, right? Maybe like that.
You would think.
I feel like I was that maybe 2 years ago. And I've changed a lot after let go from my job. Because I realized there's some people you can never satisfy. And no matter how much you do, it instead, like, it literally broke me. I got burnout from it because I tried to exceed expectations that are not humanely possible, or that were not in my reach. So I had to stop. And I think I learned that from that. But like, yeah, if you asked me like 2 years ago to play this game, I think I would have given the same answer that you have given.
GLaDOS also makes a lot of comments about your weight. She calls you fat.
Oh my god, yeah.
When you're really not.
Yeah. Parental abandonment. She makes fun of the fact that you're an orphan.
Yeah.
I literally wrote down, why does GLaDOS love to drag my parental abandonment into this?
But I don't even think she does know. I think it's just something she's saying, unless you know something you don't. But
I think we come back to that later with Wheatley, because he at some point gets into the same stages, and it seems to be a bug in the system. For Wheatley, I wrote down, so now Wheatley is in her. Well, so like, meaning is the head of the system. I meant to say, like, is the head of the system, and then I wrote down, is this even good? And then I was like, I freaking knew it! And then I wrote down, oh my god, Wheatley is an intelligence dampening device. God damn it. You're suddenly in this other, like, chapter 6 is the fall. Mm-hmm. So you're suddenly in this other place. It looks like a bit older aperture science. And now it's Wheatley. So there's a cross aperture when you load into the different chapters, or like when you have a loading screen, it then after a while X's out and puts Wheatley on top of it, but slightly obscure, which is making me, I'm like, yeah. please don't. Oh, now it's not even. I hate it. But yeah, I think that was very much on purpose.
Oh, most definitely, because he doesn't know the controls. He's actively destroying
everything.
The whole laboratory.
Yeah.
So Aperture is located underground. Mm-hmm. So the farther we fell is I would assume the farther back in history we fell. So we're at like I would assume the ground roots of what was Aperture before everything happened. Everything horrible. So there's different offices you go through. It's very different from the testing facility. Everything's rusted.
It looks very 80s.
Yes, very, yeah.
The computers and the carpets and everything looks very 80s.
Time period was based in, I think, 1982, I think is what the wiki said. I would have to fact check myself. So you are correct.
Nice. 10 points a messenger.
So while you were going through, because there's also like voice memos from Cave Johnson, who is the president. And I just wanted to know your opinions on Cave Johnson. Did you look at any of the portraits?
I did.
If you noticed, there were some portraits on the wall. I don't know if you looked at those.
Yeah, for the first, I wrote down, because he also has an assistant called Caroline. First, I wrote down, who the frick is Caroline? Who is Johnson? Johnson is like every incompetent white old man ever who thinks he can run a business and is just running it into the ground.
Sorry, speaking of Spider-Man, he sounds like...
Yeah, like the dude from the paper, right? Parker, get in here. What's his name?
Jonah Jameson.
Oh, there we go. Mr. Jameson. Mr. Jameson.
J. Jonah Jameson. So Cave Johnson sounds, their voices sound exactly the same. So if that helps you help visualize who this man is.
But then also I feel like Jameson had some sort of like, at least he knew what journalism is like, right? But then this guy has no clue. It feels like Elon Musk. No freaking clue about anything.
Yeah, true. He's just kind of like talking into a recording for the future, and it really makes no sense, but I guess to him it makes sense, and I guess that's what matters.
Yeah, he's always talking about, oh, those damn scientists don't have any clue, and you're like, really, my guy, really? And he's making bad money decisions, and apparently the things that they're testing on, that they actually give you cancer and stuff, so like...
in order to make portals happen, I guess the only material it works on is it's moon dust.
Yeah.
So the moon dust causes cancer, so he was dying from that.
Yeah, but like, you know why? Because he was eating it. He said that he ate it to prove something, and then he got sick.
There you go.
So silly. But yeah, I hate him. And then also I wrote down at some point, Johnson just fired ... a box ? He said the box wasn't doing a good job, so now he fired it. And then he's like, say goodbye, Caroline. And then Caroline goes, goodbye, Caroline. And he's like, isn't she a gem? And I was like, oh, no. Please, I hate it. So yeah, I often... wasn't even listening to him because I was like, I already listened to too many men. Please no, I don't care.
A quote from Cave Johnson is, if I die before people can pour me into a computer, I want Carolyn to run this place.
And I wrote down, Carolyn is GLaDOS, maybe?
Carolyn is GLaDOS. That is Carolyn's intelligence.
Yeah.
Carolyn is GLaDOS. GLaDOS is Carolyn.
At some point, GLaDOS started agreeing with Johnson. And I was like, wait a second. So it appears as if Carolyn wasn't very smart. She doesn't seem to be very smart. But then when you get put into this computer machine and you have like endless computing, you get smarter in a way.
So I wanted to ask, did Caroline become GLaDOS willingly? Or was Carolyn forced, causing GLaDOS to betray Aperture? Because that's when they started adding the personality cores, was because she was getting out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
So a part of me wonders she went unwillingly. This is just my theory. I wonder...
That's a good theory.
Maybe she didn't go willingly, you know? Maybe she didn't want to do that, and that's why GLaDOS came out to be so vengeful and so test-heavy. That's just my theory.
I have a feeling as if maybe from just the sheer power dynamic that they had, maybe Carolyn did sign off on doing that just because of the power dynamic between Johnson and Carolyn. And then when it came to it, she wasn't really sure, but she also, maybe she was feeling there was something wrong with her doing it, but she also felt like she had to honor the wish because she was like, I feel like she didn't have much thought into her future, basically. I feel like there was, I'm pretty sure, and that's because she was a simple person, that's fine. But when she got the, like, brain power that the computer gave her, she kind of figured out how fucked up it is to have that power dynamic abused. Maybe that's why she got so angry at her whole situation. She was like, No.
She took her power back, literally.
Yeah, good for her. Good for
I
her.
never thought of it that way. That's interesting. I like that too.
I like your theory too, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was interesting. I really love listening to those memos. There's also a portrait of Cave Johnson, and I think they kind of make it so you do see it. It's not like a hidden thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that's Carolyn or GLaDOS right behind him. That's standing next to him. Which I think is just eerie.
I didn't even realize that, actually.
So yeah, that's his assistant or whatever. I love it because it's never just said.
Yeah.
You just kind of put it together because Potato GLaDOS is really into Cave Johnson, and
yeah, she really
it's actually kind of cute. And I think it's interesting with, like, I mean, we both have done trauma therapy and are still in therapy and working all that shit out. And I think it's interesting how much our brain can block out the past.
Yes.
So where you just kind of gaslight yourself into never believing it happened, almost. And a part of me thinks maybe GLaDOS did that. And that's why rediscovering all of those things kind of awoken her humanity again, maybe. Being reminded of, I guess, roots, maybe.
Yeah. And she literally, when she remembers, since the potato only has a limited capacity of electricity, she completely blacks out. Like, she's gone for a bit.
Oh yeah, she pieces out for a while. She's like, I gotta BRB.
Because it's too much. It's overloading her system. And I think that's like you can right on put that onto a human. That's like, sometimes we black out when there's too much information. I think is a really good theory with the whole trauma thing and everything.
It makes sense. Yeah, exactly. It makes sense.
Makes sense. I wrote down when we got reunited with GLaDOS, I wrote down, oh, I have to work with GLaDOS now? Yeah, I thought that might be it. Do I trust her? No. Is she right? Yeah. Because she was like, you have no other choice. I'm like, yeah. And then there was a poster that I took a picture of when it said, Carla the complainer says, my new boss is a robot. But did you know robots are smarter than you, robots work harder than you, and robots are better for you. Volunteer for testing today.
I love that. I know exactly what you're talking about, too.
I saw that and I was like, wait, hold on. I really needed to screenshot that because I like that a lot. The propaganda was real with that one. All right, and then we get back kind of reunited with
Wheatley?
So chapter 8, the itch, he starts testing. And his testing chambers at first are very, very easy.
Very simple. Simple-minded.
He's a simple guy, okay? And it's very easy to solve them. He actively sighs when you solve a puzzle at first. He's like, oh, yes.
It's not really sighing. It's
pleased by it.
Orgasmic.
Basically, yeah.
Messenger's being a little nice.
Yeah, okay. So he's getting off on you solving the puzzles. Right. And then after a while, though, it's as if he's addicted and the puzzles don't do it anymore for him. Like, they have to be better. So he goes into the backlog of GLaDOS old puzzles and he gives you harder puzzles to solve. But he's still like, this isn't what it used to be. And GLaDOS kind of is referencing like, oh God, it's happening already. So it seems to be as if this is a repeated thing of things happening. As this is like, oh, it's their canon event, basically. And I wrote down it's awful because now he's so mean. And then I wrote down, great, we are all exploding because the bot, can't get high anymore. Well done. Thank you so much. And it seems as if it hasn't done the same for GLaDOS in a long time as well, but she's kind of gotten over it. She found a new kind of happiness, basically torturing you, right? With the puzzles. So maybe that's why she kept liking them. But it's it's not pretty. And then we come to chapter 9, which is the part where he kills you.
And I want to ask, did you die here?
Yes, I did.
How many times did you die there?
I died, so you have to basically run different ways. I died once with the smashy spikies.
So, like, right when you land in and he's like, this is the part where you die, and then he literally tries to kill you and you have, like, 2 seconds to react.
No, I actually survived that.
Okay,
I survived
good.
that one because I was already looking around the room being like, wait. No, but there's a one part later where he also texts you with a spiky plate.
Yeah.
And I wrote down, help, this is hard, let the games begin, no thank you. And then he makes a comment about Holmes versus Moriarty, Aristoteles versus smashy spike blade. I was like, no. And then I wrote down, oh, I died.
That's amazing.
And then you have this boss fight. And in this boss fight, you attach all these different, what did he call them? Personality devices.
Mm-hmm. Personality cores to kind of like...
dampen him.
Yeah, dampen to make him behave. So you start putting those on Wheatley in your boss fight.
Yeah. It's actually really funny because the boss fight begins. You actually, like, you already start loading GLaDOS in the same as you had done with Wheatley before against GLaDOS. And then it comes to the part where you have to push a button. And with GLaDOS, it was easy. You just push the button and everything worked out. But, and that surprised me, Wheatley had booby-trapped the button. So when I went to push it, everything exploded. That little piece of shit. So he was actually smarter than GLaDOS.
He even says something. He says something when you do that. He says like, oh, booby-trapped. Yeah, didn't expect that one, huh?
And I didn't. I really didn't. I was surprised.
Oh, I always forget about that too.
That was so funny. But yeah, we attach the personality cores, and I like each and every one, although my favorite one is the one that loves space very much. You can't stop talking about space. I don't know, do you want to give away the final big thing?
Sure, yeah. Is Wheatley's giving you some monologue about how he's going to end you. You're pretty much in a desperate space. Things are not looking good.
Yes.
Anywho, the ceiling from all the mayhem and destruction, the ceiling kind of falls through and you get a glimpse of the moon. And if you remember what we said earlier, portals are made from moon dust, anything from the moon. So Chell shoots a portal up at the moon. And fun fact, I just want to add, it takes 1.3 seconds for that portal to reach the moon in that game, which is the exact speed of light it takes for the moon and Earth to reach each other. Fun fact, just want to add. So when that reaches, another portal makes, you and Wheatley kind of get sucked down into space. And while all of that is happening, all of that rambunctious shit, GLaDOS gets herself back into the system. And she pulls you back in.
Yeah. She actively knocks Wheatley away from you so that you're not attached to him anymore because he was holding on to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then she pulls you back in.
And she never had to do that.
And I literally wrote down in all caps, I can't believe she's actually helping me get back. But then she says something that deeply hurt me. And she says, because... that she claims, and we can dissect that in a bit, she claims that the part that helped me back, or Chell back, was Carolyn. And because she felt her, she now knew exactly where she was in her system, so she deleted Carolyn. She claims to have deleted Carolyn, so now she is void of human emotions. And I wonder if that's true or not. Or, does she think that's true, but that's not actually true?
I'm glad you're thinking that.
There's so many different ways this can go.
One of my questions is literally, do you think she really deleted her humanity? So my answer, I don't think she did. Because I think if she actually deleted Carolyn, she wouldn't have sent Chell away. You know, like, I think... once that's deleted, all of that logic is deleted with it. So it's like, why would I let this perfectly awake human? Well, I guess, but she also has like the 2 robots now with her that she says that she's going to make test instead of humans because dealing with humans is too much. But
yeah,
I just think through all of it, if she just deleted that, like, I don't know, the logic would go out the door and she would murder her. I don't know. I just don't see why she would delete it and then let her escape. There's too many, I feel like, holes in that. I don't know. That's just how I feel. Maybe she did because with how her voice changed and like everything goes dark. But you don't know with GLaDOS because that's the whole thing about the game is it's kind of like.
I actually think GLaDOS letting Shell go is actually the reason why I believe she really did delete Carolyn.
Oh,
because
okay.
I feel this whole revenge feeling is a very human thing. The whole thing, I want you dead. I want to get back at you. I want to murder you, your offspring, and I want to reanimate you once you're dead. I want to murder you again. I think that's a very human thing.
This is why I love talking to you, because you're so right. I would have never thought about that. You're so right.
That's not, no, there's no right or wrong here. It's different.
Well, no, but like you're so right, because it's like it is such a natural human feeling to like want revenge, want like karma on someone who like hurt you, betrayed you, like. I mean, I'll be honest, I've wished horrible things on people that I dislike because they've wronged me in some way. And you're right, that's totally such a natural thing. And her letting her go is like letting go of her humanity. That's so brilliant. You're so brilliant. Your mind is so cool.
You're so incredible as well, Kat. But then I was like, because there is still some sass to her.
Right.
Because when she lets you go, there's this text on screen. Kind of as if she's talking to you one last time, but through text this time, not through voice. And for instance, she says, "Goodbye, my only friend. Oh, did you think I meant you? That would be funny if it weren't so sad." And then I was like, so is the human actually gone? Or could it be that maybe the humanity overall has already perforated into her system somehow? And she may have deleted Carolyn because we said earlier, we think Carolyn is very vengeful because of the things that happened, and maybe she was put in a position where she couldn't choose not to be put into her. So maybe she did delete Carolyn. I don't think that makes GLaDOS... I think there's still something human about her.
Sure.
Maybe that's just me interpreting that onto her because...
And that's what I mean, is like, that's why I go back and forth, because it's like, there's also humanity in like sarcasm and recognizing like tone differences. I don't know. It's just like all of these.
Yeah, it's really hard. But yeah, the fact that makes me think she did delete Carolyn is the sentence that she says. And it broke my heart a little bit. Because it tells us she doesn't really care about us anymore much. And it says, "I used to want you dead. Now I only want you gone."
Oh, that's a whole song, you know.
A whole song?
Yeah.
Wait, is a song?
So that I don't think it may be played, but those are lyrics from a song that GLaDOS sings to you at the end.
Oh, so is the text that she's writing to us actually her lyrics then?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I hadn't the sound on anymore. Maybe that's why. Because I also wrote down, "Go make some new disaster. That's what I'm counting on. You're someone else's problem. Now I only want you gone."
It's a song that she sings.
Oh, it's a song.
Because in the first one, she sings a song to you too.
Now I have to listen to that again. But yeah, I have the lyrics like screenshotted, but like that part broke me a lot. And then the very last thing I've written down, because I think that happened after all of that, was a little space score. And then Wheatley talking, and every like 2 sentences that Wheatley is doing, the space core comes by and it's like, "I'm in space! Space!"
And Wheatley's just kind of like going over everything that happened and where he went wrong. And
I don't think he's very 100% reflective on everything. No. Like there's still this like, he still doesn't really understand what he did wrong. He's just like, meh, I don't know. I really didn't listen to him much at the end, I have to say. I was more focused on the space book or who went like, "How in space?"
To backtrack for a hot second.
Yes.
While GLaDOS is releasing you and you get in the elevator to go up, it's like 4 turrets stop you and you're targeted. Because if you're playing throughout the game, there's these turrets that open fire on you. And when you stop at the elevator, they open their guns up and they have their lasers pointed at you like they're about to shoot you.
Yeah, I thought I was dead at that point.
Did you think she tricked you and that you were dead?
I was like, oh, I'm dead. Yeah, well, absolutely. 100%.
And then they start playing music.
Yes!
It's a turret opera. You see all of the different turrets.
Yeah.
And a lot of the turrets that you see on, like, the computer screen, like there's a giant leopard print called the King turret, I believe that's what it's called, in the very, very back.
That's like basically you come into this like gladiator amphitheater, and you're like come up and you have all these rows and rows and rows of turrets, and in the very back you have that giant King turret, and for a second they don't do anything, and I was like, what in the hell is this? And then I was reminded, I think at the very start, it was hinted at that there could be some sentient robot army overlords of the future. And I was like, all right, cool, oh 07. Cool, everyone. And then they start playing. But the whole time they were playing, I was literally looking at that big turret. I was like, you could kill me so easily right now. Oh my god. And then I was thinking about of all the turrets that I killed during my time in that aperture. And I was like, oh god, please don't. I hope you don't know anything about that.
There's actually a fan theory that all of the turrets and things like that are Aperture employees' intelligence, or they were once employees of Aperture. So that's why they talk and have personalities and stuff. So there's a fan theory that it's all of the employees that GLaDOS has then turned into robots.
That makes sense.
So we think those are all the employees. So it's not confirmed, but it's an interesting theory, and I want to believe it, so I'm going to.
I like it. I will believe it as well.
So yeah, that is the turret opera. The opera singer that you hear is GLaDOS. This song is mostly in Italian. Would you like me to read you the translation?
Oh, so that's what I heard, but I didn't really listen. I only read the lyrics on the screen. Oh.
It's Italian.
Okay, yes, please.
And this is where you also know her name is Chell, because it's said. So in English, it says, "Beautiful dear, my darling beauty, my child, oh heavens, Chell, what a pity, what a pity. Oh my dear, fare thee well. My dear child, why don't you walk far away, so far away from science? My dear, dear baby, ah my beloved, ah my dear, ah my dear, ah my little girl, oh my dear, my dear." And I interpret that as GLaDOS saying goodbye. So that's why I don't think she deleted her humanity, because she said goodbye in a way that Chell didn't understand, but in a way that GLaDOS could have closure. And sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. I do that a lot, where I don't openly say things to people, but I'll do something in a way where maybe they won't understand, but I'll have that, like, mental closure.
I'm actually also starting crying too right now. I feel that so
So
much.
that really got to me.
Yeah. Wow. And yeah, and I like I said earlier, I don't think deleting her humanity is the same thing as deleting Carolyn.
Sure, yeah.
And oh my god, actually, hold on. Oh my, I just had a thought. What if she actually meant, because she says to you, right? She pulled you back and then she felt where Carolyn was. What if Carolyn didn't want to pull you back? What if Carolyn was the part that didn't want you back?
Oh, interesting. Wow.
I don't know if it fits actually in that scene, but that's one of the thoughts that I had.
No, I mean, it could. I mean, I really like that theory. I would have to, like, go back and, like, really dig deep, but, like, I love that.
Yeah, maybe Carolyn was the not evil, just vengeful part all along, who felt cheated. And then when she pulled you back, she felt the resistance and she was like, oh yeah, I can just delete that. And she's like, oh yeah, Carolyn's gone now. But she phrased it in a way that would make her feel like, that would make her look less quote unquote weak, because I think she does interpret emotions as weakness.
No, I agree. I am a person that Oh, I like to think that I'm very careful about the words I choose, and I'm very skillful in planting different things. I don't know. So I think GLaDOS is just she's tiptoeing around the idea of Chell knowing more than she should, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly what I meant.
So after being released, the companion cube, which is the cube with the pink heart, which is the same cube from the first game. It's mostly used throughout the game to torment you because GLaDOS repeatedly makes you destroy it throughout your time there.
Oh.
It suggests that they possess some level of intelligence that are similar to turrets, because if you listen closely, you can actually hear it humming a tune. It like sings to you, kind of like a lullaby. So it provides comfort.
Oh.
So that's pretty much the whole part of like the companion cube thing. If you notice, the Ratman put the companion cube over people's faces, I think, on like calendars and like different photos.
Yes, on the pictures. Yeah, I just saw that.
So it's just kind of like supposed to be your friend. And once you get outside at the very, very end of the game, you rise the elevator, you walk outside this very, very tiny storage, like tin storage unit, it looks like. And GLaDOS sends the companion cube up with you to take wherever you go. And my thought is, after being institutionalized for so long and living in like, how do you start again?
Yeah.
Do you think that was GLaDOS saying, like, here, I know it's going to be hard, so make sure you take this with you. Like, here's your companion to get through it, because you have absolutely nothing now. You spend so much time in a place that it's scary to be free, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You're so used to the walls that it's scary to have that freedom. So it's almost easier to stay and keep suffering and living as a test subject than to be alone again. Which I think a lot of people can relate to in any situation you're in.
Yes, for sure. That definitely, with the being institutionalized in a prison, that I feel like that is a very North American thing.
Sure. I agree with you too.
Like prisons in Germany are very different.
Mm-hmm.
So there's focus on rehabilitation instead of punishment. So people, for instance, like unless you did something really, really, really bad, but even then, so you have your right to privacy, you're allowed to vote, you are allowed to lock your room, you are allowed to have personal items, you are allowed out on certain days. Like you can just leave and hang out with your family, go for ice cream. You're allowed to start working, and not for like pennies, but you actually get like a salary and you start having a job, and they have like lots of classes and stuff, and it focuses on rehabilitation.
Because the land of the free ain't really looking that free, to be honest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, that makes a lot of sense, and that's why I think I compared it to the fish.
Oh, right.
The bags being like, now what?
And I love that it ends there.
Yeah.
You don't know what she does. She's on her own now.
And I was like, what is out there? What is there? Is there a society of any kind? Do humans still exist? I very much doubt it. And if so, in what shape and form? Like, how long has she been out of it? Like, what is anything?
Well, she's also mute. Like, your character never speaks once. So
true.
Does she even know how to speak? Do we assume that she even knows English? I mean, I guess we can assume, but
I think she does understand.
I would hope.
Because it's us, right? And we do what GLaDOS tells us to do.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think otherwise we would understand. I just want to know how she survived for so long without food and drink.
If you look around, there are cans of beans. They're labeled beans. There's like a whole aesthetic dedicated to like Portal, where it's literally like a white background with black text that looks like super.
Oh my gosh, there is, and I do definitely see why you made me play this game for the mental health podcast. I think there's a lot that made me think about some things. It also just the testing thing, because you have to solve all these puzzles, and I like to see how I would react to them, because I think I once said that I hate puzzles and I love puzzles. They have to have that exact sweet spot for me to being able to just solve them, to feel smart about myself and not make me feel stupid. And at the very end, and I think I played some of it like when I was feeling very tired at the very end, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I was just so over it, and I just watched like how to play through it. And I had to find a good playthrough, because some of the playthroughs that I found is people like it says walkthrough, but then the people who walk you through it have no freaking clue of what they're doing. So it made me even more mad. And that was an interesting reflective thing on how I deal with not being able to solve something right away, which is definitely an issue of mine. That's something like, as a child, I was a quote unquote gifted kid, so school was easy for me. And then as soon as it got harder, I just wanted to throw everything away. I had a very hard time focusing on studying, which we now find out is because I have ADHD. But like, it got so hard. I think it's in 5th or 6th grade, and we have different school systems here in Germany. We have basically elementary, and then we have 4 different grades of school, and if you do really well in elementary school, you get put in the highest grade, and then from that you can do your A levels or whatever, and then you can go like basically your SATs, and then you can go to university, or you get put in the lower levels of school, which sometimes after you finish them you can also then go to the higher level, but not as many people do that. But yeah, I got put in the very highest level because I excelled in elementary school. And in like the first 2 years there, I didn't get effortless A's anymore. And I literally cried to my mom. I was like, I do not belong here. And in the end, I basically finished that school like in the very end, because I had figured out a system for myself and how to do things. And I did finish it with like basically a 4.0 GPA. So I was since I was really good always in school, I have a really hard time with taking my time to learn something, and it frustrates me like beyond anything if I can't get something done first try. If it takes me multiple tries to figure out. And that was very interesting to see in the moment, not as fun. I was very frustrated.
Well, and I will say, like, at the end of Portal, it becomes less about, like, figuring out where to put things and more about, like, timing. Like, it's very... Yes. It's like you have to do it fast or you die. And that was, like, part of my issue was I just couldn't do things, like, fast enough.
I feel that.
I couldn't do it.
But yeah, that was very interesting for me. Now, actually, I didn't really think about it while playing it, but now talking about it, I was like, interesting how I dealt with that, because I knew I still had to / wanted to finish playing it.
Sure.
And also I had to deal with my frustration about it. I think if you're someone who also has ADHD and is that like former quote unquote gifted kid that things were easy for you at the start, and now if they're not easy for you, you just don't do them. I would suggest maybe playing this game and seeing how you react to it and reflecting on yourself a little bit, maybe.
If you excelled in elementary school and now you're facing major burnout, this game is for you.
Well, in a sense that it will hit your trigger points. So it definitely is going to hit your trigger points. In that sense.
And it is tough. It gets tough.
It is for sure tough. Like, yeah, it's not an easy game.
But I really hope that you liked it, and it's probably one of my favorite games story-wise. I've always loved it. I've been really into the fan theories, as you can tell. It goes so in-depth. There's so many, like, comics and backstories throughout Portal that, like, explain a lot of other stuff, but that is for a completely other podcast.
No, I really, really did. And it made me, yes. So I really, really did like this game. It made me feel multiple things. And it was really cool for me to play this because at the very start, I was like, why did Kat want me to play this game? What is it about this game?
Yeah, at the start, it doesn't really hit you. It just seems like another like platformer type thing.
Right as the kind of the humor sets in, I had a feeling. I think when I saw the turret that said, "I'm different," I'm like, hold on a minute. I see potential here, and I was not disappointed. I liked it a lot. So yeah, right as we met the turret, and then Wheatley, I think, is very dismissive of it. It's like, don't engage. Like, don't even interact. I was like,
I think GLaDOS is the reason I do that bit in Twitch or in Twitch chat. GLaDOS does this thing where she claims she's not petty about something while constantly bringing it up. Definitely got it from that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I see that, and I love it. I don't know. Do you wanna talk about like some of the ratings that we do?
I am all finished.
All portaled out. I don't think the mental health disorder thing fits well. I don't know. Like, you could diagnose them with something, but then
you can't.
Yeah. It's like, because I also don't think the villain part makes that, because yes, of course GLaDOS is the villain, and there is some sort of like superiority complex to her, but literally because she is superior, like, you can argue that for sure. So I don't even know if it's a superiority complex, because she's a robot, so she's smarter than you and more powerful. And
say GLaDOS can't have it because she is on a spectrum everything.
That's what I'm thinking. I wouldn't be able to diagnose anyone with anything in particular, and it's really hard because so you play a character, Shell, but Shell is so, you are Shell.
Yeah.
For that part. Like, you can see her a little bit sometimes when you go through portals because you can see yourself. But you forget that you're playing someone unless you're seeing yourself, because she becomes you. So I guess whatever mental health disorder you live with,
yeah,
the main character.
Literally, yeah.
There you go. Look at good luck. I think there is a lot of the questions that we often ask don't fit as well. The trigger part does. It did trigger emotions within me. It doesn't want to make you feel, I don't know how to say this. It's not shocking. It doesn't do the shock value thing necessarily. There's no gore that you can see. There is no blood. There is no self-harm imagery. All these things that we have talked about in other games a lot. It doesn't apply.
No.
To this, I would feel.
The only thing, how much does it trigger? I think the only thing it tries to trigger, like, it's really big on comedic timing and one-liners. So it really only it doesn't try to, like, get you in, like, emotional distress.
Yeah. And even GLaDOS, like, so even her comments, because weight is definitely one of my triggers. So even her comments about that didn't.
Sure, mine too, yeah.
It didn't trigger me, my mental, like, my eating disorder. Like, it didn't feel triggered. It's not as if the game is pushing you in any such direction. You can just play this as a puzzle game if you don't want to engage with the story. And it's still fun. Yeah. I don't know. I think a lot of the usual questions that we usually have don't apply as much. But I don't think, like in Beginner's Guide, it's not any less mental health related. And it, again, less is more in this instance.
Right.
It gives you more time to actually think about things without being flashy. Once again, good game. Well done.
So your overall recommendation?
Out of 10 space scores, I'm gonna give it space. I'm a space. I would say 9 space scores.
That's high.
Because I think for me, for the mental health podcast list, sometimes I'm looking for games that are more mental health related. I guess, I don't know. I'm just making things up as you know me. Whatever. I'm gonna give it 9.
No, I totally get it. Well, the other ones have definitely been more like, I don't want to say mental health driven, but it's been more clear. And this one definitely isn't. Like,
True.
it's something you read between the lines a lot more.
Yes. Which is also awesome.
Yeah, and you gave it a 9. I was going to give it an 8.
Oh.
8 broken turrets out of 10. Probably for the same reasons you, is that it's not in the realm of mental health type things. Like, you can just play it for the platformer that it is.
I think that's fair. I think I also was going to give it 8 out of 10 first, but I'm just happy to do this podcast. So I felt like enthusiastic. And I had to think about the space score. So just for the space score, I have to give it the 9. You know?
Thank you for playing.
Yeah. Thanks for making me play it.
I'm sorry if it was stressful.
Yeah, well, I had a great time.
At any point.
No, I think I really needed it. I think I really needed that because
it's a thinker.
And I think I need to give myself, I need to not force myself, maybe I do, to take the time to think about things. Well, Kat, since you recommended Portal 2 to me, it's my turn again to recommend a game to you.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to go in a similar direction. A game in first person, of it maybe not having the most direct mental health aspect, but the more you learn about it, the more it creeps up on you and hits you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's summer right now, I think this is really fitting the whole aesthetic. And I'm going to recommend to you the lovely game of Firewatch.
Well, I'm excited. I've heard many good things about this game, and I have seen nothing for it.
Oh, that's so exciting.
So, I know nothing. I know absolutely nothing.
Ooh, I can't wait to see you play it. That's so cool. Firewatch is one of those games, if I could delete it from my memory and play very freshly again, I would. I know I'm going to be gone for a whole month, so probably we're going to be able to discuss it in August. But yeah, this is a monthly podcast at this point, and it's fine.
It's what we can do.
And thanks everyone for listening to it and for being so sweet.
And if any of you have any games you want us to play, make sure to email us at moddingmentalhealth@gmail.com.
Or tweet at us at moddingmental on Twitter.
Or tweet us. We would love to hear your recommendations.
Your thoughts. In the meantime, hey guys, please follow twitch.tv/IamCatastrophic because you need to watch her play Tomb Raider, among other things.
Oh yeah, I'm playing the classic PS1 Tomb Raider. Triangle titties, baby.
It's really fun to watch.
And if you're gonna do that, then you should head over to twitch.tv/LittleMessenger.
I actually would recommend, because I'm gonna be gone for a month, to go over to my YouTube.
YouTube.com/LittleMessenger.
I think it's the Little Messenger, but
God damn it, Messenger.
Just it's fine. Just search for Little Messenger on YouTube. I'm sure it's gonna come up. I'm certain of it.
I love you.
Sorry to make it complicated. I love you too, Kat. That was very complicated.
Oh, that's hilarious, though.
Hell yeah. So I can't wait to talk to you about Firewatch. And do we have a final goodbye? Oh, I know. Space! I'm in space!
Hello?
I'm different.
I'm different.
Alright, thank you so very much.
Thanks for listening. We love you.
Bye!
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 Oh, dear God.